Now we've added news to the news links table, but what we now need to do is edit that news. So when we edit the news, what we would do, we're in the Office folder, newsedit.php. We're going to get a pick list going here that's going to actually give to me the news ID, get news ID. That's what we're going to want to do so that we can then edit that news information with the pub date, display text, and URL. We'll go in as an example, change the display text to say something different, and then when we hit the edit news, it will say thank you for editing the news. So how's this all going to work? Well, we've got our typical page set up with the site login, index, sidebar. Now if you're not post, if you haven't sent us any post information, and if there's not a what to do variable, then that's when we're going to say get news ID, because we don't know which one you're talking about, so we need to get the news ID. Now I've got the $self equal to server php underscore self, and the select statement, the select ID, pub date, display text, URL from news links, order by ID descending. So that's taking all of them. In the future we may want to edit that, but in any event, we prepare the SQL, we execute it, we store the result, and then we bind the result to those 4 variables, and then we're going to create ourselves a form. Edit is the name is the edit news links, action is the $self, method post, we got an input type equals submit. So that's our basic form. First thing we're going to do is put in an input type equals hidden, name equals what to do, ID equals what to do, value equals edit. So when we're picking this, we're now going to have a what to do that equals edit. And we're going to have an ID field, select name equals ID to /select. And inside of that we're going to fetch line by line display text. And then we're going to echo option value equals ID. So we're sending the ID, but we're displaying the pub date and the display text. So that's if there was no post information. However, if there is post information, else if post what to do is equal to edit, then we're going to do the edit news info. And that's where it takes that information. Again, we have the server PHP self, and we create our SQL, select ID, pub date, display text, and URL from news links where ID equals question mark. That's what we're going to have to prepare. And that means I'm going to put in this case a $I equal to the $ARR of ID. So whatever that post data sent, an ID field, I'm just calling it $I this time. Notice that it's an integer, so that's why my bind parameter indicates it's an integer. And I execute that, store the result, bind the result to those 4 items, and then fetch. There should only be one, so display text is going to equal I'm going to strip the slashes out of that, and then I'm going to echo a form. Name equals edit news links, action $self, method post. Okay, so we're going to edit the news. First thing we have is a what to do. ID equals what to do, value equals insert. So we're in the middle of editing something, and we're going to tell it what to do next is insert. Action is going to be update. Type equals hidden, name equals ID, value equals $ID. So that's our ID field. And then we're going to create a table where we echo pub date, and then we go on and echo the display text, and lastly the URL. So those are 3 rows in the table. Now, I mentioned I had a what to do of insert, probably should have been update. It doesn't really matter, because in this case, if it's not edit, then it's going to do the update. So it really didn't matter what I called it in this case, although I may change that. Update news, let's take a look. I got today's date, I got the text, and I got the URL. and the ID. All those came from the post array, which in this case has just been renamed $ARR as a local array. Got my pub date, got my SQL, update news link, set pub date equal to this, display text equal to that, URL equal to that, where ID equals that. So we have 4 question marks in here. We prepare that SQL statement, and bind, I have 3 strings and 1 integer, and I execute the statement, and that's really all there is to that. So that's what the main line is going to look like.